Are you kidding me? Nice. United's from them. The United is a local realtor there in town. They're on Main Street. We'll go right by her office. I'll show you. It's a very nice house in a very bad section on the other side of the tracks. Get my drift. Peggy Bouchard. This is an old listing. Extremely. That was a new development built by a group out of North about 3 years ago, 3 or 4 years ago. It's the type of thing, if you look at from the perspective that you might say, wow, it's nice property, but it's in the wrong location. If you get my drift. And if you come back up here, you can get an idea of that a little more. I'm going to take it to a place I think could be a really good deal. It's a Fizbo. It's the lady that owns the other house across the street from us. The one I told you that's in Boston, up in Wakefield, Mass. Might be a better deal for you here. So let's take a look at that. Here's your neighborhood that Olivia and Jennifer would be looking at. And if you come over here, it's nice because you can see it does sit off the park. And Railroad Park has been a big, let's say, project by the town, but in reality, it has nothing to do with the town. It has nothing to do with it because the only reason this thing happened was the garden clubs got together and they monstrous amounts of rail waste that was left when the train shut down. Now here is something right here coming up that is kind of a positive thing. Look at basketball courts. $155,000. I don't know if that's a good deal for concrete, which the original stuff cracked and they had to redo it. And actually Joe Cataldo of Marino's Pizza, amazing, right, was involved. Here's something that's starting to draw people up to the park. Tractor pulls. Very loud, very typecast type of audience. Kind of fun to watch if you're into that type of thing. It's great, they've got something going on. But boy, when they're on, it is a loud event all over the town. So, this of course Railroad Park, which is where, of course, the railroad was based. This is the only reason Victoria exists, because it was halfway between Sewell's Point and Norfolk, where the coal went out, and Galax, West Virginia, across the line of Virginia, where the coal came in. And you know that real well from Clay, West Virginia. Now over here, Brad and guys, is, yes, you may have seen this before. This is the old computer repair. I haven't been a computer repair place in 6 years. No, this is actually Joe Cataldo from Marino Pizza. Had bought this building and it sits vacant, and it has sat vacant. Missing a few windows, as you can see. It was the old shoe factory. And it's all been, you know, kind of closed down. You see a lot of pictures from my webpage on it. Street, last thing this had commercial use was making dog supplies, specifically dog beds and also feather mattresses. Now the town uses it to store stuff. And then there's a guy that does some really cool tools, turnarounds on hot rods. Neat guy from Jersey. I've got a little web page that I kind of did with him, a little interview. And that's it. So it's a monster building. It's not in that bad shape. You could do a huge variety of things in here, to say the least. We'll take a little closer look down here. I had actually spoken to Ken Patterson, who's the old town manager, about making it a big, partly an incubator business, small business, but also doing indoor recreation. Do a indoor soccer, do indoor hockey, not necessarily ice, but you know, volleyball, you name it, basketball, of course, and put that in there. Now we're coming on to Railroad Park. And if I don't completely lose control, I can get us down the mountain here without killing ourselves. Oh! Hey, there we did it. So, back up again. And actually, what you're on is part of the old railroad trains, where it came in. Knock-off thing from what one of the stations may have looked like at one time. But the guys have probably seen this. This is really neat over here, because this actually is the only thing in Victoria or Lunenburg County, and believe me, Lunenburg Courthouse has nothing to offer to really take care of the place. But this is pretty cool. We live at 1518 9th Street. That man right there, Henry Huddleston Rogers, actually from Fairhaven, Massachusetts, and has did a world of things up there. Union Railway, and he built it almost under the whole lines of the old C&O and NW, Norfolk and Western, that actually was out of crew. And railroads that he built this, a robber baron era, if you will, were built along the lines of where the passenger lines went, and the commercials went the same way. He went and decided to make a direct line. I'm not going to go but to a few different places. There's only about 4 stops of the whole thing for this railroad. And at one time they called the Virginian Railway the richest little railway in the world, and it was. But you can kind of see what they did here. This project was really cool, and unfortunately it took about 3 years from conception to what you see from the talk. A lot of meetings. I think they had like 3 or 4 or 5 meetings about it. And if you're kind of like me, you're probably saying, why? In that respect. That right there, that is the old railroad station. And there were plans to build and recreate the old. In fact, the next place we're going to stop, places of the past, and maybe a look to the future, is where they were going to build a railroad station. Of course, you can have great ideas, but it takes money to make them happen. Kind of at the Caddis Building, I call it the Caddis Building, Shade Street, hot rods and stuff. Really cool guy. For the most part, that building's a waste. Just storage, and it's not storage that couldn't be done other places. There's a big chair company, Fellowship Chair, down the way, down Tidewater, and they do a lot there. Anyway, this is the old. Did it? They repainted it. Looks really nice. Gives you kind of a taste of what the old life was like. And got some folks out there, always people at the gazebo having a good time. And anybody can go out there, you know, that really wants to. And we'll do. I can see the closed at dark trespassing sign has faded away into nothing. And if your boys have been walking around here, they've seen lots and lots of empty commercial space, which is worse than, in my opinion, than empty commercial space. Is much worse than empty residential space. But anyway, we kind of walk in, and this is not going to look any different. Nope. Bredo, this does not look any different than it did when I had done an interview a little bit on the 100 year of Victoria, if you see that shirt right there. And I interviewed and talked to Greg Elam, who of course is also on the council. But he gave me a really good shot of what was. It took a while for them to get the money or the time or whatever to repaint this, and for a while they had 42, so you didn't know what it was, just a red caboose. Could be a red house over yonder. Jimi Hendrix would love it. There's a good example, a good shot here of the park. Gazebo, everything's kind of free there to use. And it is used. It's a good amenity. Basketball courts aren't really used as much as they thought they would be. And of course, looking back over, if you look back and you see the building on the side, and the back of that building is the one that you're looking at for Olivia and them. And as I said, I'm going to kind of show you a couple of other places. One in particular, I think it might be able to fit your bill, but hey, figured I'd give this a little walk around, jazz around tour here. When I first came here, there were probably about 8 more commercial operations of some sort working that were open. The Napa store was open. They have one in Kenbridge too. Now they only have one in Kenbridge. The garage was open over there. They recently did reopen. There was a machine shop in there. They don't do anything in there except have siding exposed to the street. And actually there was a really cool place right here that has been allowed to rot and waste and fade away, unfortunately. You can tell you don't have much care about your businesses when you look at the closed sign, and they can't even put closed up there. Actually, they did have that at one time, but it fell off. Now, actually, I heard Brad is Joe Cataldo, the one that owns Marino's Pizza, the one that owns the factory there. It used to be the Craddock Terry Shoe Factory. Had bought this land. He had a pretty good deal with talking to Hardee's, and there was some talk about Chick-fil-A, but they would never come to a place like this, I don't think. But Hardee's may have, and a fast food restaurant down here would have helped. Is a Subway, and that's a big Subway. It's not a typical Subway. It's a neat place. We'll just kind of walk in here real quick and kind of take a little peek. This thing has been vacant now for probably 4 years. It fell through the boarding here, but anyway, you get a little idea. I got to tell you, it's probably been about 2 years since I've been up here, and overall, in not too terribly bad shape. You know, it's amazing what happens when you throw some paint and you clean up and you clean out the front and the back, and your place doesn't look like you're dead. You know, what perception that you create. And when you don't create that perception that you're doing something that's worthwhile, you can tell what happens. So, you know, to be honest with you, I don't really think the equipment here, you know, it's all could be replaced. They just kind of got tired of running it. They were doing well. They made killer steak cheese. Only place to make a Philly steak cheese halfway decent. And of course, you're sitting there right off the park. So, you know, you would think if they're at the park, they could cater to things if they had things programmed going on at the park. Now, in looking at all the kind of where I'm not talking so positively on that, and I'm not going to go further down, that gas station right there is another gas station that was here, went out of business, and Cataldo bought that also because the idea was there was going to be a new gas station over there, and then the Chick-fil-A or whatever the fast food place would come and be where this was. As you can see, nothing happened. Now, if we do go down straight, we'll come to the Food Lion Center, which I'm sure you've seen, you know, in pictures or whatever. I've shown you in pictures. Not the food, across from the Food Lion Center. That's the shopping center that's totally vacant. But let me show you a positive thing, because hey, town was involved with it, and they were getting ready to lose it. Private owners had taken the old town pool that was actually always a private pool, and about 2 years ago, they decided to go ahead and invest in getting it back up to running. Slowly they have increased the hours. They even offer some lessons. The color game of volleyball they're going on. It's not bad. And you know, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, it's one of the better things. Now, if you look here in the back, in the community center, where they used to have a lot of things going on, they do some limited roller skating from time to time in there, but it's not programmed anywhere nearly as much as it could be. But you'll notice the over there, and so there's an option. There's a positive thing that, you know, that the town actually was involved in. They have memberships. They sell. I think they even let people come and try it a few times. You know, it's in the back. It's funny when you feel passing sites and places on that you would never really want to walk into, much less trespass on. But we're going to go down Fifth Street. This is a house to take a look at that is also owned by Sherbrooke, who owns the house that's next to 1518 9th Street I was telling you about. And the house that you're looking at over there, Olivia and them, is a nice house, but I guess you can also use all this term in real estate, location. You get an idea what you're looking at there. It certainly was not like that when the house was built, but without really going into the wrong side, right side of the tracks, let's just say when you cross over the bridge, little bridge over the railway, and you come off the park, it's not as nice as it is on the other side. Good. How you doing? Good. Yeah, riding? Yeah, it's fun. Anyway, here, some of the neighbors here. Got to remember, guys, this town was founded for one reason: Virginian Railway. Only reason for its existence. Well, coal, but and the houses that are nice and that you see, every single thing was built and dedicated as far as on that. Now, coming here, there's another one. Oh, whoops, my bad. I went right by it. Actually, and I actually had done cleanup of this. This was a mess. This is the house right now. I'm going to go ahead and take some shots and inside pictures and stuff there for you. That Sarah has. It's Fizbo. And I'd say she's pretty motivated. I don't believe anybody's living in it currently. We're going to find that out in a minute with some pictures and catch you on the other side.